So, very good morning once again. Welcome to the British Mahavidyalaya and welcome Bhante to this Sunday's summer sharing by Bhante Dr. Chandima. And of course, this is the continuation of the series on the 5 precepts. Today we will read the last precept on abstaining from intoxicants. So I'm here with Macho, so Bhante will explain further what entails in that last precept and how do we observe that last precept. Let me just quickly read Bhante's profile for those of you who are here for the first time. Why don't you all come to the front? Don't be scared, Bhante won't ask you questions. Come to the front. And you can see your face as well. Come, please come and join us in front. Let's sit at the back. One more thing, today there's going to be a fire drill. I think it started between 10 to 12. So there's going to be an alarm, fire alarm going off. Don't panic, just stay where you are. We will stop for a little while until the alarm goes off, and then we will carry on as normal. Yeah? Because the Sunday school has got a fire drill going on together with the fire department. So they can have a drill, so the kids will be running out a lot of noise during that period. So we stay here until that sound subsides, and then we carry on. We didn't want to cancel today's talk because of that, so we will just carry on as usual. So Bhante, Dr. Chandima, as an associate editor of the Journal of International Buddhist Studies, which is published by the Buddhist Research Institute of the Mahachulalongkorn Institute, the Rajan Vijayalal University in Thailand. He was previously the research fellow at the Center for Studies in Religion and Society at the University of Victoria in Canada. Dr. Chandima is also the Theravada Buddhist chaplain at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, and he was a chaplain from 2012 to 2016. Bhante is currently the senior advisor to Precept, a virtual Dhamma organization that hosts a weekly online family meeting class, Sutta discussions, Dhamma talks, and plenty other Dhamma activities. Bhante also conducts a regular Monday Sutta class here at the British Mahavidyalaya. So there will be another class tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. and everyone is invited. So much would you like to invite Bhante to start this morning's Dhamma sharing?
Thank you, Brother Leslie. Good morning, Dhamma friends. How's your morning so far? Good morning. Is it also good? Should be, supposed to be. All right. So today's topic is going to be about the fifth precept, which we will be looking at from different aspects. Not just thinking that the popular notion of that abstaining from alcohol is only the answer. Alright, so in order to get started, we will pay respect to the Buddha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tasse bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhasse. Right. And I have translated the fifth precept to be abstaining or refraining from intoxicants that cloud the mind. And I have some notes because I normally do not show notes on Sunday talks. I thought that I should show you because Suramiraya precept is one of the very largely misunderstood topic, and some people they misconstrue, misunderstand, misinterpret the precept. So I made some notes. Normally I give notes on Monday Sutta study for the Sutta study class participants. So you know, to drugs, drinking plus driving. All right, so most of them are here. All right. Um, do you all hear me well? Okay. Okay. Right. So, how do we understand the fifth precept? There's a small issue here. The fifth precept is not given in the other sealers. If you look at 8 precepts, do you see that? You don't see it. So also the Noble Eightfold Path, you don't see it anywhere. You don't see Suramerya. Why is it? Why is it not mentioned in those places? Any reasons?
Maybe earlier people are more virtuous, so
They don't drink. Right? They drank more actually, more than today. They drank more stuff.
I mean, those who are in the monk, those who prescribe to Buddhist teaching, they already are having better virtues.
Yeah, possibly. Can you increase the gain, the mic gain? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Maybe during the time, alcohol was never invented at the time.
Okay. Yeah, good points. Yeah, great. Good. Any other thoughts? Why it is not mentioned in the Noble Eightfold Path or 8 precepts, 10 precepts? You don't see it. Now, say for instance, this part, abstaining from intoxicants that cloud the mind. So in Buddhism, we are trying to clarify the mind, not clouding the mind, right? So that is the complete opposite. So that means Samma Sati includes Suramerya. Our whole process is to clarify the mind. Maybe at a certain point empty the mind, and at the end eventually to free from the mind. The Buddha said mind is also a problem, right? We call it, there's a word for that, Cheto Vimutti. What is it? Cheto Vimutti. Let me write that for you. That is a higher level. When you attain Nibbana, you release yourself from the mind also. Before that, you have to work with the mind, develop, cultivate. But at the end, you understand mind is also a problem. Not even from the mind. When you become a full Arahant, you also release from the Panya, wisdom. Panya Vimutti. Cheto Vimutti, Panya Vimutti. I can write them here. Yeah. Cheto Vimutti and Panya Vimutti. Cheto Vimutti means release from the mind one day. Mind. And then this one, release from the wisdom. You are going into a zone where everything is sunya, empty. Right? Because we need mind to the certain level until we attain Nibbana. Then we are entering into wisdom. Wisdom is also a problem if we are too much into that. So we are into sunyata. Anicca, dukkha, anatta, sunyata. Being able to see the changes as they are, and then being able to see the dissatisfaction arising from the changes, being able to see that there is not self, and then everything is empty. Finally, everything is empty, right? Say, for instance, one day we die, our sansaric consciousness departs from the body into another body, unless we attain Nibbana, and then our Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu, the solid parts go back to the solidity, Patavi element, and the fluid parts go back to the watery sections, blood and everything, and then heat goes back to the heat, nature, and then the motion goes back to the, temperature goes back to the wind element goes back to the wind. My last breath goes back to the air. Somebody else is taking that breath. It's a fully recycling process, right? Empty. Where is that entity? Entity is going to be again recreated with another body. So that's kind of a higher, this is the higher level of the mind. But now we are still unenlightened, I hope so. So at this point, we have to take care of the mind till we get there. When we get there, mind is also a problem one day. Not even the mind, at a certain point, wisdom too. Cheto vimutti, panya vimutti. I'll delete that. Alright, so the thing why Suramerya is not a part of the 8 precepts and other precepts and also in the Noble Eightfold Path, because it is a fundamental thing that we understand in our path. That means being intoxicated really clouds the mind, and then there is no possibility for you to come out of the right mindfulness. So there is no such thing to even talk about, because it clouds the mind. That is why it is not mentioned. Now the Buddha in the Sigalovada Sutta mentions there are 6 dangers, drawbacks in terms of drinking. Actually habitual drinking. Immediate loss of wealth. Do we see that? Yeah, we see it. Promotion of quarrels, arguments, quarrels. It is also a very prominent thing, very often time thing. Vulnerability to illness. We are very vulnerable to sicknesses. Maybe MS, multiple sclerosis, maybe liver issues. There are a lot of things when you keep continuing this process in different ways. Disrepute, yes. A drunkard person is always having a bad reputation among the non-drunkard, among the people who are sober actually, not among the drinking other buddies. For drinking buddy, a good buddy, he drinks a lot like us. That person might think. But among the sober people, I don't think so. Right? And then indecent exposure. So we never know what is going on after that. Weaken wisdom. This is very important. It weakens our wisdom, that we are not able to be developing the self-control. I would say making a good judgment, sound judgment. They all impair such things. Actually, when you go to the law, drinking and driving is what you call mostly reflected upon the impairments. It's highly discouraged anywhere in the world. If you go to, even if you think Western countries, they are, what do we know about Western countries, or what notion they are carrying? In some parts of the Western world, there are some new Christian movements, like the Mormons. The Mormons are a part of what you call a new Christian movement. There has been some time. They've been there for some time. There are some times that they govern some cities in the West, like in Canada, southern part of Canada, the US border. There's a city that Mormons are very powerful, and they even prohibit drinking tea. There's a city called Cardston in southern Alberta, because the Mormons starting from Salt Lake City, Utah, all the way up north, they even discourage drinking tea. Tea and coffee definitely. Like some states in your country, some of the eastern states, provinces, probably Terengganu, Kelantan, I think they don't have any liquor shops, I think. No cinemas, right? Well, I mean, people look at it differently, you know. They look at it very differently, maybe sometimes extremely too. We don't know how they think. So that means even in the West, there are some movements about not drinking, even at the level of having a tea, coffee, that kind of a mild level of stuff. All right. So we will learn what the Pali term actually, Suramere Majjhima Madhattana, really means, and look at the broad idea of how to avoid. what did the Buddha ask us to avoid, that part. Now alcohol is the famous translation here. Alcohol is a chemical produced by fermentation. Now the problem is the fermentation. I think we ferment a lot of stuff. Let's say if we want to have different sweets, right? You may go for fermentation, which suppresses the central nervous system and causes intoxication when ingested. That is the nature of alcohol. But we look at alcohol a little differently. Not alcohol is wrong, alcohol is bad, because there are instances where we may have to consume alcohol. Any educated guesses about it? One very fundamental reason is
Even the Bible also said drinking that thing is part of the holy rituals.
yeah, that's Christianity. Yeah. No, I mean, although what we see that alcohol is a problem, but in our life we may have to consume alcohol in different ways for other purposes. Anybody notice those moments of your life, events, situations? Sorry? As a medication. You catching a cold, you catching a cough, then the over-the-counter medications are not answering your issue. Maybe I would say a virus, right? Not a bacteria. So then you may have to see a doctor, and doctor prescribes you a little bit stronger syrup. Now what happens is that you have to take it just before you sleep, because in order for the antibiotic to work, antibiotic wants you to sleep, and I will take care of it while you're sleeping. Like a codeine based syrup, and then it kills all the whatever things that it can. And we know it is alcohol. That's why we should not take it while we are driving, operating any machines, because we never know. It impairs the balance. It impairs the central nervous system, right? So we do have to take it, unless we will get sick, and we will also spread it to other people. What harm are we doing, right? On one side we know that the bacteria or whatever the thing will be killed for the better cause, the greater good. At the same time, we have to have some alcohol. Not we have to have some alcohol. This is a doctor's prescription. On the other hand, let's say you have a very bad pain, chronic pain in your legs. I don't think that you will get an instant, immediate answer for that. So doctor wants to give you a painkiller. So maybe a doctor gives a painkiller. You never know what it is, but you feel very good, like morphine, like morphine. What's going on? Oh, he gave you heroin, So it's heroin. But the dose is as prescribed by the doctor. Not that you go and buy from the black market, from those drug people, drug cartels. Right? Not like a recreational drug. So for medical purposes, we don't take it as a mode of being intoxicated, because the doctor gives us in a certain way, and he tells you, you will be drowsy, you have to take it this and that way. It's okay. So we having a very moderate way of looking at intoxication, not like the Mormons, not like those extreme people about alcohol. Now they will never, if they know, they will never be prescribed by the doctors any such medications. They will die. Those people who completely reject about alcohol idea, even those people, they will be dead. Even some of the new movements, I don't want to mention their names, they even reject blood transfusion, right? You are required it medically, but they don't take it, right? So there are some issues. So new movements, they are making some certain areas to be very strong, like some new Buddhist movements, they only take one particular part of Buddhism, only promote that part. And then people are being brainwashed, and they don't know the fundamentals and all that. But anyways, so this is the background. So we are looking at alcohol, I would say intoxication, not even alcohol, intoxication in a very educated, liberal, but not a non-virtuous way. We take it by understanding how we are going to consume it. We are very discerning, wise beings at that point. Not that, no, I'm not going to take any, because they are part of our nature, but we look at it consume it in a very informed framework. Right? Now let's see the word Sura Meraya Majja Pama Dattana. This is very interesting. Okay, first let's see Sura. What is Sura? The Pali word Sura means fermented intoxicant liquor made with powdery substances. What are the powdery substances? Rice or flour. Okay, so this is about creating fermentation through the rice or flour. Does this happen to us when we take some more rice for our lunch? When you take couple of plates of rice for your lunch, will you feel like a little bit drowsy, sleepy? Huh? It doesn't happen to you. When you take couple of rice plates, you will be. It depends on the individual's body. Some people can manage even two plates of rice. But normally if you consume more rice, you will feel a bit drowsy. Why is it? What is in the rice? Starch. Starch. In olden days, when our ancestors cook rice, you know that they cook it with firewood, all the starch flow over into the area where the fire was. But now in the rice cooker, all the starch go inside the rice cooker. Now we consume lots of rice and we get diabetic for sure. So people are looking for different healthy rice patterns, this is a good one, basmati, basmati has less sugar, but not the white rice, right? So it's a problem. At that time it went out of the bowl. So you are not consuming lots of starch. Now that means starch creates sugar, instantly creates sugar, right? I think the nutritionists say that you should not take rice as the first thing because it will create sugar faster. Take the protein part first if you have a choice. So anyways, starch, what you call rice, flour definitely. When you have I would say extra amount of levels of these things, definitely it will cause fermentation. That means where is the fermentation happening at that point within your body, right? Now this is what we understand by fermentation is artificially created from outside, right? Do we see in the bread too? Breads? How are the breads made? Yeast. Yeast. So there is the fermentation too. That is why now in the grocery shops, bakeries, they have to meet the demand. People come and then grab a bread. So they are not putting yeast for a long time. So it's so strong. So when you eat that bread, you feel something different, acid reflection, all that happening. In the olden days, they put it for overnight. You don't feel that much. Right? Nowadays, they put it and then they make it ferment instant in fermentation. You feel very uncomfortable. Maybe some other sicknesses are waiting for your body. So fermentation too. But the problem here is that fermentation is okay, but when the fermentation creates you intoxication, that would be the issue. Fermentation involves the conversion of sugar, starch has sugar, flour has sugar, into alcohol through the digestive process of certain yeast. Fermentation cannot produce a high alcohol content that can be tolerated by the yeast. However, higher alcohol content can be produced by heating the mixture and then condensing the resultant vapors, a process called distilling. Now this is what we call by meraya. Sura is fermentation, meraya is distilling. Why I am very particular about these things? Sura meraya is nothing but an understanding about what you eat. Otherwise you will not be intoxicated, right? This is fundamentally understanding what are the food, what are the things you should eat and you should not eat. So we should have a good understanding about what should I eat, what should I not eat, how much food should I eat, how much food should I stop eating. That is why I am going into some of the very chemical scientific terms so that you know, okay, there is this issue, right? Otherwise, you will not be into Sura Mere, right? If you understand that these things, then you have a better self-control of how to protect yourself. Mere, distill intoxicant spirits. When the fermentation is carried on to the distilling level, you can see spirits, it's more intoxicated stuff. Distill alcohol made from sugar or fruit and sometimes flavored with sugar, pepper or the bark of the certain tree. And then majja. Sura is one type of intoxication. Mere is another type of intoxication. Then majja is another type of intoxication. What is majja? Made from honey and asava. I would call juice. Asava means juice. They have pala asava, fruit juice, different type of juice. So whatever the honey and juice type of stuff made from the juice of the palmyra palm or the wild date palm and could be either just brewed and distilled. You may eat them whenever you are prescribed by the doctor or somebody, but the problem is knowing the intoxication level. Right? Then what will happen is when somebody consumes these three like excessively, then it will bring them to pamada. Actually attana pamada. Sura mere majja pamadattana. That type of drinking, eating will be a cause of heedlessness, basis, foundation of heedlessness, pamada. That means pamada is the biggest issue here. What is pamada? Negligence or heedlessness. Is this a very important concept? Pamada? What is pamada? We have two types of pamada and appamada. You can be late for an event. You are supposed to start it at maybe 7 a.m. Right? Then you will be late for that event. Right? I always tell people, you are stealing our time. Adinna dana. You are stealing. Other people are waiting. You are taking their time. So that event will be prolonged, you know. There's something to think about. If you could, you know. Second is being late for the sansaric journey. To end the sansaric journey. So if we are late for ending the sansaric journey, that is the biggest heedlessness, pamada. What did the Buddha talk about this thing, this concept? Yes.
What's your question?
Huh?
What's your question?
Yeah, my question, I did not create a formal question. I'm going to. Okay, so what did the Buddha say about pamada, negligence? And appamada, that means diligence. What did he say about it? In one of the suttas, he said, appamada, that means the opposite of pamada, that means diligence, this is not heedlessness. Diligence is like the footprint of an elephant in the forest. Just as all the other footprints of the jungle, forest can be fit into that footprint. He says all the other virtues in Buddhism can be fit inside appamada. That means appamada is our framework of spiritual practice. Dana, sila, bhavana, nekkamma, kanti, adittana, metta, upekka, everything goes inside the appamada. Why is it? If you don't have a spiritual urgency, samvega, will you be able to do dana? Will you do dana? Will you do bhavana, meditation? Will you do sila? Will you do upekka? Will you do loving kindness? No, you will not do. So the primary inspiration, motivation is appamada. If it is the elephant footprint, dana, sila, bhavana, all come under this. That means if you don't have appamada, you won't be able to grow in any of those practices. Not even that. The Buddhism went to many countries, 9 countries, during the time of King Ashoka. I think you know this history, right? How did King Ashoka, I would say Chanda Ashoka, become a Buddhist? Now this is about the history, Buddhist history. How did he become a Buddhist? Sri Lanka would have not received Buddhism without him. Myanmar, Greece, Cambodia, Malay Peninsula, and many other countries, they would have not received Buddhism. I think this Buddhism would have not come to us without him. So we should be very grateful, like just as we grateful to Anagarika Dharmapala, protecting the Buddha Gaya, and should be highly grateful to King Ashoka. So how did he become a Buddhist? He was not a Buddhist before. After finishing his war with other many countries, he became the emperor. Right? He was an emperor. So he was very sad about what happened. Like King Duttagamini in Sri Lanka. He was not happy about the war he did with the Tamils, Indians. He was very remorseful about it. So then monks thought we should chant him Abhidhamma Pitaka, Yamaka Pitaka. Yamaka, there's a Pitaka called Yamaka in Abhidhamma. So he was happy. He can't sleep. All the deaths, wounded events come to his mind. The same thing happened to King Ashoka. So King Ashoka was very laid down, and then so much, I would say, disappointed about the war he did with many countries, and he became the emperor after a long time in India, Jambudipa. Then he saw one little monk was calmly walking across the compound of the palace. He was very happy. He didn't see this sight of that calmness. He felt very calm by looking at it. He felt very peaceful. He asked the royal forces to bring him to the palace inside. And then he came in. His name is Nigrodha. What was his name? The monk name? Nigrodha. I think he was a Samanera, not a Sampada monk too. So he came in. Then the king asked, Bhante, please take the seat. Then, where he sat down? He sat on the throne. So in order for king to be given the Dhamma talk, he has to be higher than the king. The king didn't say anything. Now he is making space for some new things, spiritual stuff. So he sat down. He gave a Dhamma talk, very short Dhamma talk with a stanza. This stanza is mentioned in the Dhammapada. First stanza of the second chapter. Appamadu amatapadam Pamado machuno pada. Appamatta nami yanti, ye pamatta yatamata. Now the Samanera Nigrodha knew king is very unhappy. Maybe he is thinking he was late in his spiritual journey. He was late in becoming a better person. He has done enough bad karma. So he thought this could be the best verse to say. What does it mean? Appamadu amatapada. If you can be diligent, then that is a state of not being dead. If you are diligent, you may die conventionally, but you are not dead. See the Buddha. He passed away 2,600 years, but he is still living in the minds of many 100,000 people. Not even the Buddha, even the very famous figures who have done an immense service to the society, they are still in our mind. Like Venerable K. Sri Dhammananda, right? Still in our mind. They may have passed away a long time ago, but still their contributions are in our mind. Right? Arahants and figures who have done a very good service. A service that people can felt, not just a service, people felt it. Right? After you do a good karma, you should feel it. You should be able to feel it. Otherwise, not a way of doing that properly. So, when someone is diligent, appamada, that person will not die. Pamado machunopada. If you are late in your spiritual practice in your life, you are almost dead. Maybe you are living already, but you are dead. Appamatta nami yanti ye pamatta yatamata. Functioning has been given in the last two lines. That means if you are diligent, you will not die. If you are late, you are dead. After hearing this stanza, what happened to him? King Ashoka wanted to accept the teaching, and he became a Buddhist. The Indian emperor became a Buddhist at that point. Then he said, I want to do everything for Buddhism at that point. He was very happy. Then he made the third council, and then he sent 9 emissaries to many other countries, right? So they all went to all these places. So that means pamada. The teaching of pamada is such powerful, such important, right? That means appamada. We have to be appamada. Even the last words of the Buddha are about appamada. What was his last word just before he passed away? What was his first word? Let's talk about his first word, the words he made just immediately after he became the Buddha, and what were his last words? First words when he was born, Aggo hamasmi lokassa, jetto hamasmi lokassa, setto hamasmi lokassa, ayamantima nattidani punabbavu. I am the greatest, I am the highest, and all that. I will not be reborn again. That just at the time he was born. Then once he became the Buddha, what did he say? What was his happy statement? Aneka jati sansarang, you know that? Sandha vissang anibvisang gahakarakang gave santu dukkha jati punappunang gahakaraka ditthusi punagehanna kahasi sabbati pasuka bagga gahakutang visankitang visankara gatan chittang tanhanang kaya manchagati. That was what he said. What he said, Aneka jati sansarang, through many infinite number of lifetimes, I was searching for the carpenter who is creating the sansarik house. Gahakarakang gave santu. Gahakaraka dittosi, I found him. Who is making this house, sansarik house. Punagehanna kahasi. He will not construct the house back again. Sabbati pasuka bhagga, I have demolished that sansarik house with its rich poles. Sabbati pasuka bhagga gahakutang visankita. My mind is now mounted on the visankara, but our mind is mounted on sankara, right? Sankara and visankara. Let me write that for you. Buddha's mind is visankara. Our mind is sankara. What's the difference between these two, Dhamma folks? Sankara, what is sankara? Do we have sankara? Yes. Are we making sankara? All the time. What is sankara? Karma. We are creating karma. Now you are creating karma. Visankara, they are not creating karma. Right? So visankara. So my mind is now visankara. Tanhanang kaya majjagati. I have uprooted tanha, not just eliminated, uprooted tanha. Tanha is not coming back again. So this is the statement he made just after he became the Buddha. Then finally, in the Kusinara, what he said, the Malla state, the state of Malla, the city of Kusinara, just before he passing away, what he said to the monks over there, they were very uncomfortable. Who will be our next teacher? Who will going to take over from you? They said, nobody is going to take over. Nobody can do that after me, because none of you are Buddha, right? Your successor is going to be Dhamma and Vinaya. He did not appoint anybody. He could have appointed Arhan Mahakash, but he did not do that. Then he said something very interesting. What he said? Vaya Dhamma Sankhara Appamadena Sampade. All Sankharas, these ones, all Sankharas are subject to change, right? Actually, that Sankhara is not this Sankhara. Sankhara has different meaning. This Sankhara is karma. That Sankhara is anything made up by something. Now we are Sankhara. How are we Sankhara? Huh? Who made us? Who made us? Who made you? Intention. No, I mean, who made you? You have everything. Who made you? Your parent desire. Your parents desire made you to be like this, right? So your parental connection is what made you to be such. Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana entity. Without their intervention, you would have not been born, right? So what is not Sankhara then? Anything that is not made with a cause. What is it? Nibbana. Nibbana is the only unconditioned state. We call it unconditioned, deconditioned. All are conditioned. All this is conditioned. Somebody made it. Conditioned. Our parents were conditioned by their parents. Right? Everything is conditioned. So Buddhism is talking about how to decondition the sankhara process. So Buddha said all such sankharas are subject to change. Then what he asks us to do? Appamadena sampadeta. Appamada, the opposite of pamada. Strive on with diligence. So appama. See, last word. Even his last word is about appamada. What a beautiful, great word. We got Buddhism from India because King Ashoka heard this word appamada. Then Buddha's last word is also about appamada. Okay? So that is why Suramereya Majjapamadattana precept is very important, because it is attacking the element, core of our spiritual life. Our core. If you are heedless, if you have no appamada, because you have created that extent, you will do all the bad. You will kill other people, you will steal, you will misbehave, you will lie. That means you don't have right mindfulness, because right mindfulness has been taken away by those stuff. Sura means fermented stuff, Mereya means distilled stuff, Majja means I would say honey and all these juices stuff, and then create. Now does this mean we can't eat fermentation stuff? Does this mean we cannot have distilled stuff? Does it mean we cannot have honey and juice? No. We should know where is the intoxication level, and you have to make sure you are okay, you can make a sound judgment. Alright, so let's go a little bit down. Now look at the distillation process. The distillation of beer produces whiskey. This is what we know in the literature. Now see, distillation of wine produces brandy. See, when the fermented stuff become distilled, and further distillation create more distillation. Now see, American whiskey distilled only once, Scottish whiskey double distilled and charcoal filtered, and then Irish whiskey triple distilled. See, now you know, next time when you want to, when you go for a liquor shop, if you think, you can consider where I can stop my that much strong intoxication. Right? The most obvious danger of intoxicants is the fact that they tend to distort the sensibilities and deprive people of their self-control and powers of judgment. Under alcoholic influences, a person is likely to act rashly and without due consideration of forethought. It's pretty clear. Now, after this, I have created some points and some of the questions for you to think about, so that we can save time and give you more time to ask you some questions. Is there a word called right drinking? Is there a concept called right drinking? Some people may have this thought. It's okay to drink. Then why is the fifth precept not included in the Noble Eightfold Path or the Hayati? We already discussed about it. How does Buddhism see drunkenness? The Buddha says it many places, especially in the Parabhava Sutta too. How did the Buddha say? Itti dutto sura dutto akka dutto chayo naro laddang vinaseti tam parabhavato. There are certain bad habits. When you go to that level, you will be going into the downfall of your life. Itti dutto, if someone is a very greedy person for the other sex, itti dutto. Sura dutto, so much addicted to drinking, being intoxicated. Akka dutto, if someone is addicted to gambling. All these are things that lead you to the downfall. Not mangala, you will find avamangala. Then you will find avamangala, not mangala. no blessings. Right? Even you come to the temple and get the blessings, and if you keep doing such things, those Mangala will turn into our Mangala. Because in the Mangala Sutta, Buddha says, Majjapanacha Sanyamo. You see that, huh? One of the blessings. That means you should have lots of self-control in the intoxication. You may go for intoxication stuff. I mean, not to the intoxication. Alcoholic stuff you may have, but you know where is the intoxication. You know it and you are careful about it, so it's okay. Now, let's say there is a social drinking happening, and you are not driving that night. You are letting somebody else to drive the vehicle. Right? You are so much careful about that. In case you get intoxicated, you are asking somebody else to drive you. Right? You are not taking the car and driving back home and killing other people. Right? Is smoking included in the 5th precept? Is it? Does smoking make you intoxicated? It has nicotine, huh? Does it? Does it? It does. How does the smoking make you intoxicated? Tobacco?
I feel that the first cigarette, especially when you wake, the first cigarette.
Some people even can't go to the washroom without the cigarette. Huh? There are people like so much addicted. So that addiction, I think that addiction is a part of the Suramiri. When you are addicted, you will keep having lots of such, right? And I think it's a bad thing, because you will eventually get lung cancers and all that, right? Addiction. So you can't directly say it is a part of Suramiri. Not directly, because it's about what you call, as we said, fermentation and then distillation and then other things. But eventually smoking will lead to Suramiri. Actually, when people having Suramiri, they need cigarettes. Hey, where's the cigarette? They're looking for the cigarette. Give me the stuff. Right? So that means they are interconnected. Right? They are interconnected stuff. So I would say it is better to avoid. Plus, it's good for your health. Huh? Then, can I break the 5th precept when I take medications containing alcohol or drugs? No, you are not breaking it. Because you are prescribed, you are under the doctor's supervision. Follow what the doctors say. Doctors will never give you to become intoxicated. If it is so, they do it for a bigger purpose of your health. So it's okay. It doesn't matter, like you are under doctor's supervision. Even when you are having a very bad pain, chronic pain, cancer, whatever, if the doctor is giving that is given to you for a purpose. Let's say you are meeting with an accident and you are with so much pain, excruciating pain. The paramedics, they are giving you morphine because they want to feel you ease. You won't feel anything. You feel numbness. It's okay, because they want to protect you. They want to protect your health. Right? Yeah. Did you post the video? Okay. Sure. Good. Maybe. We will continue after the sound. Huh? All right. So, can I take alcoholic herbal products just because I love the taste, smell. You have to decide that. Can a small amount of alcohol lead me to defilements? Could be. It could be. Even you are in a low-key social life, it could be, because different people are different, right? Is moderate drinking good? Now actually there was a Tibetan Lama or somebody in the US promoting mindful drinking. It's a very controversial article about, Tibet Buddhism has some new branches, we should not bring that kind of a very beautiful, very wholesome concept to this kind of a thing. It could be okay in the West, in their own way, Western cultures. Because when you talk Dhamma in the West, what is more happening to that talk, discussion is more Western stuff are going to be ingrained in that Western cultural stuff. So Dhamma has to go inside the culture. Not that culture is going to embrace Dhamma a lot. Otherwise you can't, talk to them, right? So we cannot say this is good. What I can say is that understand the intoxication and then think about the rest. All right, that's almost. Any questions? Yeah, you have a mic. I can give the mic to him. Yeah, wait. Good morning.
My name is Bhante. I wanted to ask regarding the number one just now.
Number one, yeah, the words.
Okay. Or the one that you say, why is it not in the Noble Eightfold Path? Which question is that?
I think we can see it under question 5. Yeah.
5, yeah. Can you talk a bit about, in Majjhima Nikaya 117, right?
Majjhima Nikaya?
117.
Okay, you in Mahachattari Sutta.
Inside that there is a part called mundane right view and also supra-mundane right view.
Yeah.
And I think this is more towards the mundane right view, right?
What is more like
all about drinking and stuff?
Yes, because if you are an arahant, you are not doing anything wrong, right? Yeah.
Even it's starting with the Arya start.
Okay, that's clear. Understood. Yeah.
So maybe that's the reason why it's not included in Noble Eightfold Path, because it is more towards for Arya path rather than the layman path.
Yeah. Noble Eightfold Path, the Noble Eightfold Path that we study is definitely the mundane way, because we all try to attain Nibbana. So definitely it is mundane aspect of the Noble Eightfold Path. But in terms of the precept, it's about how to become a better person in terms of the Noble Eightfold Path, I would say unenlightened perspective. Yeah, so there's no question about it. Because Arahants never involved in such things. So they have natural sila, we call pakati sila. Arahant sila is pakati, natural. Now we are the ones who have to avoid and to improve. Yeah. So my question here was that why don't we see Suramerya as a part of even the secular Noble Eightfold Path? Because you don't see Suramerya in the mundane section too. We have to understand it in addition, because if anything is clouding the mind, definitely it is a barrier to our Samma Sati. For the supramundane, definitely they have sila. They don't worry about any of these things. Even for the mundane part, for us, why it is not mentioned under the mundane part? The reason is that clouding the mind ruins whole practice, even the mundane practice. It's a question. Make sense? Okay.
Good morning, Bhante's brothers and sisters. About drinking, right? How would you advise, right? When a person has a lot of mental sorrows and miseries, they resort to this drinking to drown the sorrow, to just numb their sensation and feelings. What kind of, as a Buddhist, right, how would you basically help them to divert this another sorry or bury their sorrows or miseries to move on in their life?
No problem will be solved just by drinking. It will be temporarily withdrawn for a moment of time. Let's say you go to the bar, liquor shop, you are so much upset about it, and then you go and then have it. Maybe after a couple of hours, the question remains. Question will not be solved. I think it's like a temporary plaster. I think in Buddhism we are not looking for plasters. We don't have plastering. That's why it takes time. So I think better to understand your problem, whatever the problem you have, maybe family problem, maybe your personal, maybe your work life problem, and then to maybe approach a counselor, maybe a Buddhist monk who can actually help you out, turn into those mental health things, or maybe somebody who can give you advice in your family circle. Maybe if you cannot at least self-understand the thing, drinking is not at all any kind of solution to the problems. Actually, some people drink for happiness too. When they pass the exam, they want to drink. Now the problem is your happiness that low? You waiting to drink, pass the exam, get the promotion, right? I think it's kind of a very misconstrued understanding. There are so many good things you could do.
But the condition of the victims, they are not mentally accepting all this thing. They keep on pushing, torturing themselves near parties. You said that they feel there's no way, or this is the only solutions.
I think that person has not explored the possibilities, ways, other possibilities.
So as a Buddhist, how?
Yeah, that's why I'm saying better to look for other possibilities, whatever. No, I don't think so. We are not that kind of null and void people. We are conscious beings. What we believe is that there is solution, there is help somewhere.
But that she or he is not receptive to all this kind of thing anymore. It's just like giving up.
So you think somebody is suffering?
Yeah, I'm talking the other person now. How can we as a Buddhist?
Yeah, that one we have to know by case. We don't know what are the possibilities for us to talk to that particular person. Maybe there may be a way. There may be a way. Even if animals can be domesticated, even very ferocious animals can be domesticated, what can we not do for the humans? There should be a way. But the things that we can do to her or to him are not perceived by us very easily. That's why we say there's nothing we can do to this. But there may be. Maybe we approach some wise people, somebody who could do, maybe somebody she or he trusts in her own circle. Normally people listen to their very good friends, where somebody who is very close to that person. Maybe we're going to pass that message through that person. Sometimes when you want to give an advice, you are a little shy, embarrassed to say in public. You might talk to maybe one of the friends of that person, then slowly bring that up. There may be so many ways. So sit back, think about it. All right. There are possibilities. I think that we are not exploring the possibilities. We only see only one or the other.
But what I do is normally chant and send metta, say.
No, that might not solve the problem. That is good for your own self-help. Do that. If you want to solve the problem, make an action. Make an action in the proper way, in the wholesome, proper way. There are so many things you could think about. It is our ignorance that will take us to this thought, okay, there is nothing that we can do. There are ways. We have to explore each possibility. I can't say a specific advice because I don't know about that lady. So I don't know what's going on with her, what's going on with that person. So if I know, maybe if a wise person knows, if a counselor knows, if somebody from the mental health knows, they have solutions. When you go to a mental health professional, do they say we cannot help? No, there is something that they will tell you. There is something. They have something to work on.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else? Any questions? Okay, I will come back to you.
Bhante, I think a lot of problem comes from habits.
Very good. Yes.
So, you see, this intoxicant can be bigger. It can be people watching dramas. They're addicted to the drama. And they cannot stop. So, yes. Even though it's very stupid drama, they still watch. Boxing and whatever. What do you advise? Because I have such a person in the house.
All right. I think not even in terms of drinking habits, I think since day one we are forming habits. Actually, when you say, hey, that person is such a good person, why is it? That person has been forming habits from day one. Actually, when you think we want to change people, we want to make people good, that means we have to approach their habits, bad habits if they have. So as you said, television long time ago, now social media, there are good things as well as bad things. It's kind of a double-edged sword, double-edged knife. So we cannot deny social media is bad. Like, see, we are all consuming in the good way. But Hollywood, I would say, drama series, the way how people watch them over the course of time, they might have impacted them badly, negatively, right? So what we can educate people is that when you watch anything, if you don't watch, then you are saving time for something else. But if you are addicted, try to cut down on your time, screen time, it's good for you. Then you can create different forms. Maybe you can opt out for another thing, right? Opt out for a series of Dhamma or whatever, Dhammadana series. I don't think many people will go that way. But at least Dhammadana series, good stuff series, good series. It's like when we are trying to tell a smoker, hey, from tomorrow you can't smoke. No, it won't happen. If you having 20 cigarettes today, can you cut down to 15 tomorrow? Maybe for a week, maybe go to 10. Slowly, gradually doing it. So as you said, yes, such what you call social media, maybe drama, or maybe movies, especially Hollywood has very badly impacted the Western society. They are not, because it's not the truth that people can actually aim for. So that's why sometimes you feel Eastern society is doing well than them, because the roots. So definitely there are issues with habits. So if we can really approach habits from Buddhist perspective, definitely they can change. There is a high possibility of adapting to a good forming of a habit, good habit. Yes, we have to approach. Yeah.
Bhante, how about when we do cooking? We add on rice wine.
We eat on rice.
When we cook certain dishes, we add on this rice wine.
Rice wine. Okay. Do you add to dana too? Are you adding that to dana also? Okay, rice wine. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this is for lay person. How about even if we offer the same kind of dish?
Yes. I don't think there is an issue. The reason why I talk about these materials is not that you have to avoid all these materials. Now you see some candies have brandy, some candy, some chocolate, right? Even wedding cakes, right? But if you are not intoxicated, should be fine. If you can avoid, much better. If you can know your intoxication level, then it's okay. If you eat couple of, let's say rice wine, if somebody adds lots of rice wine, people getting so much intoxicated. But if you add it, because what I was trying to say is that alcohol is not the problem. Not knowing the level of alcohol which turns to the fermentation, distilling is the problem. But this does not say that we advise mindful drinking. This is not mindful drinking or right to drink. This is about understanding that level, where you're going to be not sober.
How about comes to Nikaya when we offer this food to Bhante, and then will we do something
in good faith.
But we do it in good faith.
Yeah.
But when
So okay, this kind of a scenario is going to be wrong. You giving dana in good faith, but what you are giving is intoxication. That is very bad, because that is why I am trying to say understand your the materials. Okay, I'm going to give dana, but some brandy. That's pretty bad, because you know it. Let's say you have to add some rice wine, as you said, but you add it in the proper way. Maybe if you are, other thing, if you are very regretful, remorseful, don't add something else. Add some soya sauce or something. You can find out different alternative if you are so much worrying about it. Because if the problem is the taste, as Buddhists we are not going after the taste, right? We are just surviving with the taste. So maybe you can change that rice wine into another something, right? Yeah. I mean, if you are very concerned about it. Otherwise, if you are not intoxicated, it's okay too. But if you are adding it to see people getting intoxicated, that is suramere and then bad intention. Yeah, we will take another one question and then yes.
Bhante, can you please help elaborate on intoxicated thoughts?
Intoxicated
Thoughts.
thoughts. Okay.
If it's repeated and say something like fault finding or drowning in past hurtful memories.
Okay.
And what are the ways?
That is the next level of the suramere. Now actually there is lot of information about the word called mother. This word. That is another discussion. Mother. Mother is a upakkilesa, impurity. Actually what happens to you when you become intoxicated is you having suramere mother. The Buddha talks about 108 mothers. 108 intoxication. Let me tell you. Purekkara mother. When people want to do something, there is someone who wants to become the forefront. He wants to take the lead. It is a mother intoxication. Let's say you're going to do a very big project. Someone says, I want to become the group leader. At the time that he or she is not eligible for that. If he is eligible, it's okay, right? Maybe Sippa mother, you are very knowledgeable and you always want to show that you are an educated person. So they are the next level of this. That means under that 108 intoxication, suramere is one type of mother because it's a physical type of mother. Many mothers intoxications come from not understanding the reality. Arogya mother, I am a very healthy person, I don't have any sickness. But what about you? You have this one, that one. Blaming, insulting other people. This is also intoxication. There are many such intoxications. Seniority. I am senior than all of you. You have to know that. You have to respect me. It's an intoxication. There are 108 intoxications. So that is the next level of this conversation. So I am not going there. It's a very lengthy conversation. But understand, suramere is one intoxication in that list. So people proliferate, people pollute their thoughts at that point. Okay? All right. You have a question to ask?
One last one, Bhante.
Yes.
Just now you asked about, why is it not included in the lower eightfold path? I think the first 4 precepts are really abstain. You have to abstain. The last one is actually moderation. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah.
You can consume, but in moderation and with mindfulness. Without going heedful in any way, you can consume.
Yeah, definitely. Not consume. I mean, we may have occasions to consume. Where we have to consume because medical reasons, maybe as you said, cooking reasons. Because different cultures do things differently, right? So yeah, so it's not the consumption, it's about coming to the intoxication. Now the other problem is, are these two words similar? Moderation and intoxication. It is very different from one to one, right? Your moderation may not be your intoxication. Some people even take it moderately, but they are getting intoxicated. Different level, but let's say some might say, okay, this is the amount of thing that I can have, but still getting intoxicated. Some people still moderately doing that, not intoxicated. So I think even Kamasumichachara is also kind of moderation in your karmas. Surameria, as I said earlier, it actually destroys the fundamental purpose of Buddhism. Intoxication level. So there is no hard and fast rule for anybody to consume alcohol unless they are not getting intoxicated. But definitely if you form a habit of drink, I want to drink, looking for breweries, distillery, looking for liquor shops, I think that is not a good thing too. But maybe having a social drink with understanding the intoxication level, it should be okay. It should be okay.
Many of the world leaders also drink one day.
No, we have no problem with the social.
See, they're not big, like the UK and America, most of the presidents and the prime ministers drink a lot.
Yeah.
Hitler was a vegetarian, as opposed to Winston Churchill who was a whiskey toker.
Yeah, we don't work.
You see, it's question of moderation at the end of the day. You can be vegetarian and still be notorious.
Yeah. That's why I was trying to say it is not the physical avoidance only. The higher level of Surameria goes to a mental level. As Ho mentioned, it is about whether we are getting intoxicated with this practice. It may be a heavy drinker, right? Because we are not worried about the world leaders that much, because they have their own agenda, their own way of ruling, especially Christian countries, they drink a lot. So it's not the problem. So as Buddhists, what we are understanding here is that we are not bringing our practice of drinking fermented stuff or distilled stuff into an intoxication. Then it should be okay. But on the flip side of this thing is, when you have so much liking towards Surameria, you are creating lobha for that. So if you can manage these two sides, you can still have some habits, good habits. Because there are people who drink by being very conscious and they avoid the next level. But others cannot. They say, hey, have another drink. It keeps going on. And because when you are with other people, you cannot say no. Peer pressure. So then where are you going to end up? You will be ending up with a very bad place. So if you know these issues, if you can moderately and if you can understand the intoxicated level, then there is the way that you understand what to do. So I'm not encouraging you to drink, but if you think there are certain occasions that you cannot avoid, then you bring your mindfulness about intoxication at that point and you act accordingly. It should be okay. Act accordingly. Not that Barack Obama drank a lot and we can drink it. That's Obama, Yes. All right. So it's almost 11:20. May all the good karmas be transferred to all the departed ones. Especially, I think all these are living individuals, right?
Yeah, exactly. In memory of
Brother James, late brother, yeah. So, late brother James and all the other departed ones who passed away, in the name of all of us, may all they be able to receive all these good karmas. May they be well and happy. May they attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Idam me ñāti nang hotu sukhita huntu ñātayo. Idam me ñāti nang hotu sukhita huntu ñātayo. Idam me ñāti nang hotu sukhita huntu ñātayo. May Devanaga Mahidika receive all these good karmas, share all these good karmas. May they be well and happy. May they protect all of you, including Tian Ng, Chen Yutwa and Elizabeth, Yo Salman, Leong Mun Yeo and Wong Lee Sa, Lim Chin Moy and Yu Sin Wan, and all the other individuals, especially the meditation group, late Brother James meditation group, anybody in that group, and everybody who came here today, and all your family members, everybody, all living beings be protected by Deva Naga Mahidika for good health, quality of life, prosperity and safety. Finally, may Deva Naga Mahidika also attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Ittavatacha ammehi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavatacha ammehi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavatacha ammehi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Akasatthacha bhummatta devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu loka sasanang. Akasatthacha bhummatta devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu desanang. Akasatthacha bhummatta devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu mang paranti chirang rakkhantu tvam sadati. In the sansaric journey, may we be always in the company of the Kalyana Mittas and not with the Papa Mittas. Thinking thus, we are going to make the wish. Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamu satang samagamu hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Finally, may all the good karmas which have been accumulating in all these ways be supportive and helpful for all of us to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Abhivadana silisse niccang vaddhapachayino chattaru dhamma vaddhanti ayuvannu sukhang balang ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevache ato nibbana sampatti iminati saminjatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Right, that's the end of the Sunday Dhamma talk.
Thank you, Bhante, for this enlightening discourse, I would say, on the fifth precept. I'm sure many of you have been given a new thinking in terms of surrounding around Chandima. So you just don't recite it next time, try to understand it. I definitely did, because I have to admit I'm kind of a social media sometimes. So I was trying to see a different perspective today. So with that, we would like to thank Bhante for taking time off to be with us this morning. Bhante, I think Bhante's got a class tomorrow, as I mentioned, the Sutta class. And the next Dhamma talk, I think, is next month. We will be on the Facebook page. You can just check the Facebook page for the calendar for September that Bhante is contacting. So with that, let's put our palms together and wish Bhante as the Sadhu.